So welcome to Module 5. This is part of our Toolkit series dealing with the NDIS. In this section we're going to talk about goals and understanding the plan. So what is a goal? Well, a goal is something you want to achieve, develop or learn. It's also something that's going to make you happy and proud of yourself. So when you're trying to help a client that you're working with to be able to set goals, that's not something that they would normally say to themselves. What is my goal for today? What is my goal for tomorrow? If you're a frontline support worker, here's some tips if you're helping someone to prepare to set their goals. So get them to think about things such as this. What do they want in their life? To be more independent maybe, get a job, have more friends, things like that. And on a bad day, what do they need to make it better? Or what helps make a good day really good? What is it that's stopping them from doing the things that they want to do now? So also keep in mind that people that you are helping may not want to say what they can't do. Maybe you need to ask them some nice questions to be able to get that information from them. So here's a real life example of the importance of functionality, your long-term, short-term goals, supports and where you're going to pay for it. Here's Joan, who's told you that she always gets angry. Now, Joan wants to be happier and she wants to be more in control of her emotions. So that's the long-term goal. So in the short term or medium term, she needs to understand her emotions and learn strategies to cope better. How's she going to do that? Well, she can get support from a behavioural psychologist. And where is that funding going to come from? Who's going to pay for that? It's going to come out of her capacity building in her NDIS plan. You need to know what area your funding is coming from because it's very important to be able to have the right funding for the right goal that you've set. For instance, out of core support, this helps you to live independently. In your capacity building, it helps you to learn to do things better. And then there's a capital area of funding. You may need to buy equipment or have modifications to your home or to your car. So while you're out there helping people in the community as frontline workers, make sure that people's goals match up with their funding areas, core, capacity building and capital. For example, if a person really needed a prosthetic leg, well, if they don't ask for that, they won't get any capital to buy one. So it's important to get this right at the beginning because having a review and changing it can be very complicated. A big part of the NDIS, Cheryl, as we both know, is about setting goals. So how has that been a challenge for you to talk to people about goals?
Before I talk about goals, and I do talk about goals, you've got to lead up to that.
Okay.
So I always start with, tell me your story, because it's really important to be person-centred on that individual. Yeah. And for them to tell you their story. And that's where they would come out with, their own situation, some of the challenges they may have or may not have, some of the barriers they may have. So when they tell you your story, that's when you get a really good understanding of them as an individual. And then you can start exploring with them, what is your needs? What is it that you want? What can I do to help you? Yeah. If I can't help you, is it okay if I refer you to
somebody else? But it's very important, especially if they need support and services from the NDIS because their goals are linked, connected. There's two dots that need to be connected, goals and their plan, their funding. Yes. So that's the reason why
we introduce goals.
Goals, that's right. So really it's that initial sitting down, listening to someone's story, waiting for them to be ready to tell you everything that they need to tell you. And sometimes that might happen a little way down the track, but because you've done that sitting down, listening and a person-centred approach, they're ready to ring you up and say, hey, do you remember me?
Yep. In their own time. It's definitely got to be done in their own time. Yeah. Silence doesn't mean they're not listening. And that's, I think, really important that people understand silence is them thinking about what's been, the information they've been given. What does that mean to me? How can I access that? And they will think about that. They will go home and discuss with family, friends, community, and get a fuller picture of what what that means and what that entails, and then think, is it something I want to do? Is it something I want to commit to?
Yeah, and that's something that we all do. Each person, we all think about things before we make decisions. So if we don't, that's where we come unstuck. So it's really important that we encourage people to take that time, but to ask the questions when they're ready.
And also to expect resistance when it comes to the NDIS. My experience, with people with disabilities and encouraging them to access NDIS, there was a lot of resistance. I'm not eligible. Why would I want to? All that sort of thing.
It was something new.
Yep.
It's a government system now. Do I trust it? There's all those sorts of things that go into the pot. So building trust. Say if a person is a frontline worker who might be, looking at our webinar, what's a simple bit of advice that you could give about building that trust?
Take the time to build the relationship. Don't expect it to happen straight away. Expect it to happen a few times. Your first meeting may or may not go very well. In fact, your first meeting may not go well at all, to be honest. But persevere. Understand people, Aboriginal people will look at your body language. They will listen to you, and they will listen to you, seeing if you're listening to them. And if they don't think you're listening to them, they'll shut down. So you need to build your relationship. You need to be honest with them. You need to be upfront and say, I can't promise everything, but let's work towards it. Trust is really, really important. Sometimes language is also a barrier, putting things into language that is what is relevant to them.
What they understand.
So if you say to them, look, the NDIS can help you, you don't actually get bunda.
You don't get any bunda, not in your bank, sorry.
Not into your bank. But you can access people that will help you and pay for those services, such as getting a taxi to and from the shops or to the doctors and back. A lot of our mob, don't have driver's license, don't have a car, and travelling to and from all these appointments is a challenge for them.
It is.
So as part of setting that goal, NDIS can help you. So what's your goal? I need to get to the doctor, I need to get to the podiatrist. I don't know how to get there. There's a goal in itself.
Yeah, so there's all these services that are there, but sometimes they're not able to access them because
they don't
of transport and things, and then they don't get it.
That's right, and then they miss out. Yeah. So, and using the terms that NDIS would use, so what's your goals, for your access in this program? It's getting them to use the right language as well. We can teach them the right language so they can access the proper services, even though it feels uncomfortable for them.